Good morning. One or two have expressed an interest in getting baptised, which is wonderful. And there's just one question that you can ask yourselves. In fact, all of us as baptised Christians, we too can ask ourselves this question. And I'll come to what it is in a minute. But first of all, I'm going to look at an illustration of Jesus Christ. And it's in Luke 14. It might at first not appear to be applicable. But Jesus said, "Which of you here, intending to build a tower, would not first sit down and work out the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, if he laid the foundation and then found himself unable to finish the work, the onlookers would all start making fun of him." So what was Jesus saying? He was saying, if you want to be a disciple of him, we need to count the cost. So how much is it going to cost us? Well, I'll come back to that in a moment. But first of all, we'll look at the one question. And it's in Mark chapter 12 and verses 28 to 30. A scribe said to Jesus, "What's the most important commandment?" And Jesus said this, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength." So the question is, do you love God that much? So what I would like to do, and if you say yes to that question, I'd like you to ask yourselves, why do you love God? Go off to a quiet place somewhere and just think about what it is with our dear Father that you love. And if you get a bit stuck, read Psalm 103, where it lists our dear Father's wonderful qualities. Now, let's go back to the cost because it is connected. And in Luke 14 and verse 33, Jesus said, "None of you can be my disciples unless you give up all your possessions." So what did he mean? Does he want us to be homeless? No, of course not. Because in Matthew 6, he said, he knows that we need food, clothing and shelter. And if we seek the kingdom first, if we love God more than possessions, he will make sure that we have enough. The Apostle Paul said, work. He said to provide for yourselves, for your own family, and maybe have a little bit left over for somebody in need. So he was talking about riches. We love God with our whole heart. And if possessions, if more than what we need, fills our heart, then we can't love God fully. These things always come second. Now, if we love God, we will also love Jesus Christ. And if we love Jesus Christ, we will keep his commandments. And if we're in any doubt as to what they are, we can review them in the Sermon on the Mount. That's Matthew chapters 5, 6 and 7. So for anybody who wants to get baptised, I suggest you read those chapters, not all at once, but bit by bit, and ask yourself, can I do what Jesus wants me to do? Now this is where the love of God comes in, because we love God with all our mind. So we look at Jesus' commands and we think, these might be a bit restrictive, especially in this day and age where they're talking about freedom and do what you want and so on. Do we love Jesus' commands with our mind? Do we think to ourselves, yes, I agree with these laws. These laws on morality, quite difficult, but they lead to the best way of life. And if in our mind we're happy and contented with the life that Jesus has asked us to live, we will actually be happier than if we go off the rails and do whatever we want. It's not the happiest way of life. Now, there's more, obviously, to loving God than I've mentioned this morning. In Barnes' notes on the Bible, he said, "All true obedience depends on the correct knowledge of God. Nobody can keep his commandments if you're not acquainted with God's nature, his perfections, and his right to command." So in John 17 and verse 3, we know that eternal life is this, to know you, the only true God, and Jesus whom you've sent. Knowing God is not an easy thing, and it's for another discussion on another day. So briefly then, do we love God enough to put him first and not to hanker after riches and possessions? And will we obey his Son and his commandments, even if they appear to be a bit restrictive? With our minds, do we understand these laws and commands? If we do, then yes, we can get baptized. Take care now, and God bless you all.